Cool guys, so this is question 2 of the grade 12 June 2025 science paper 1 paper. So this is the physics paper, this is the beginning of Newton's, and let's jump right in. So we have a person pulls a block of mass 12 kilograms over there to the right using a light inextensible rope T. So we have tension. The block is pulled from point A to point B over here at an angle of 40 degrees between the rope and the horizontal surface. The coefficient of kinetic friction between the block and the surface is 0.31. That is good for us. The block is pulled at a constant velocity. Okay, they are shouting at us. That is important to note, which means there is no acceleration in this system. Okay, of 10 meters per second to the -1 as shown in the diagram below. So here is the guy, here's the block, there's the mass, we are good to go. So 2.1, we are jumping into a definition, which usually leads us to use that definition in some sort of formula later on. So it is saying define the term kinetic frictional force. This is an all or nothing question. By that it means we either get 2 marks or we get none. I saw that in the last set of exams, this cost a lot of my students a lot of marks, considering this is about 15% throughout the whole paper, all the definitions, and if you get none of them, then you lose about 15%. Same with the multiple choice, it actually adds up to quite a lot. So just getting the definitions down and getting the multiple choice right can automatically raise your mark by about 20%. So that is important to note. Cool. So off the bat, the kinetic frictional force is the force that opposes the motion of a moving object relative to a surface. So this is all or nothing question, but it does help us orient ourselves as to using this formula later on, which means if they ask this definition, they are most likely going to use this kinetic friction formula somewhere later on. So off the bat, we just earned 2 marks over there. So 2.2, it says draw a labeled free body diagram of all the forces acting on the 12 kg block while it is moving at a constant velocity. Okay, so this is also a good question as it helps set up everything we need to see which forces we need to work with as we move into the formulas coming up. So we always have gravity acting down, so we have Fg. We always have Fn going up there. We have frictional force here because they gave us the coefficient of friction, so there is kinetic friction working against it. Doesn't matter the lengths of each side, they don't have to be drawn to scale, but the direction is important. And we have tension going up here, and that'll be our 4 marks. Sometimes they will say for a 5th mark, give 1 angle, and then we draw a dotted line over here, and we would have our 40 degrees over there. One thing to keep in mind though is that we don't do the components of something at an angle, something like tension. I'm going to draw it now, but we don't do the f of y going up there and the f of x going down. But we do use those in our formulas going forward, which means we just need to draw another free body diagram to help us remember that we must use the components as we move into the formulas. So that is 4 marks right there, not including the dotted lines for the components of tension. Cool. And 2.3 now. So it says calculate the magnitude of the tension in the rope. So one thing to keep in mind, if we're trying to calculate the tension in the rope and the magnitude for 5 marks, it means we are probably going to work with one of these components. At this stage, this block isn't moving up and down as gravity and the f of y plus the f of n are in equilibrium. This block isn't lifting off the surface, it isn't sinking into the ground either, which means that this direction, this up and down direction, isn't what we're working with. But we are trying to work in this horizontal plane where we can do a perfect math sum of plus a direction minus the other direction, because we always have to work either completely horizontal or completely vertical to do some type of sum. We can't go t here at this angle minus f of f here because we don't have a perfect linear direction, a perfect horizontal. Cool. So that is just something to keep in mind as we plug into this formula. Cool. So at this stage, we are working with some type of F net formula. We just need to see, are we working with Newton's 1 or Newton's 2? Because they have shouted at us, they have put in capital letters that it is a constant velocity, which means there is no acceleration. 10 meters per second to the -1 is our velocity, but it is constant, which means there is no acceleration, which means our mass times acceleration is 0, because 12 times 0 is 0, which means we just have to work with the F net for our horizontal plane on this side as we unpackage it. So F net over here, if we have a positive direction, as it is moving in the direction that the person is pulling it in, it is moving in the direction of f of x. This will be our positive, and our frictional force force will be opposing it, and it will be negative that way. So it helps to pick a positive and a negative so that when we unpackage our F net, our resultant force, we can then include the signs that are in line with the direction that the object is moving in, which means here we have our F of X minus our frictional force. And that is everything on the left side. These are the only two forces working in the horizontal plane. So one thing to keep in mind when we are pulling any object at an angle, here's our tension. We have our T of Y over there, and we have our T of X over here. We need to determine which one is cos and which one is sine. We can always use normal trig to do that, but a nice way that I like to remember it is that our Y component is just sine with a Y plugged in there, which means our X over here, I just write it like this, but if we understand that sine has a Y in there, we'll know that our Y component is by sine, and therefore our cos has to do with our X value. So that means if we are working with the X value, the horizontal component, we are working with cos of the angle that they've given us. So off the bat, for our F of X, which is our tension, we just have T cos 40. We want tension, but we don't have to unpackage it. We can just add the cos 40 because we are working in the horizontal plane. But what is important is unpackaging our FF. A reminder that we used the kinetic frictional force, or that was the definition we had to define in the beginning, which means we are using that formula over here in our calculation, which means we have U times Fn, and that is our FF component over here. And this still equals 0 because there is a constant velocity and therefore no acceleration. So we can just go ahead and start to solve it by plugging in the variables for our frictional force. So T cos 40 over here minus our coefficient, which is 0,31 as they gave us earlier. So we have 0,31, and then we just need to calculate the normal force, because the normal force is the gravitational force equaling the normal force plus the tension of Y, which means if we are trying to isolate our Fn, let's just write this first. So Fg equals Fn plus Ty, which means at this stage Fg we can calculate, but let's just isolate for Fn. So in order to isolate for Fn, because these guys are in equilibrium, this box is not falling through the ground or lifting up off the surface, it means these are in equilibrium. This equals this plus this. But now what we want in this formula here is our F of n, which means we're going to take our Ty over, and therefore our Fg minus our Ty equals our Fn. So this is what we're going to plug into this formula here, this big placeholder here, but we can calculate some components of it, because Fg is our m times g, which is our mass times gravity, 9.8, and we have the mass of the object. So what we're going to do, we're going to go 12 times by 9.8. Over there is our Fg minus T of y. A reminder back to this graph over here that our tension of y, we still don't know tension. Tension is unknown. That is what we're trying to calculate. But the y component, if x was cos, our y is sine of that same angle based off of our horizontal. So this 40 over here, which means we have T sine 40. And this whole thing, once we've simplified the Fg just to a number, is what Fn represents. So we can then go ahead and plug that into there. So 12 times 9,8 is 117.6 minus T sine 40. So that means we can just go ahead and we can plug that into our formula here where our Fn is. That means we have 117.6 minus T sine 40. And this still equals 0. At this stage, we can just go ahead and we can solve for everything. Even though this T cos 40 and this T sine 40 might look daunting, cos 40 and sine 40 are just number values, just like special angles in math, which means we can just go ahead and we can start to solve for everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our cos 40 and our sine 40 into number values. We're then going to distribute our 0,31 into both of these guys, and then we're going to take the numbers to one side, simplify our T with the numbers, and then we can divide by it to get an actual value for tension in this equation. So cos 40 equals 0,766 T, never round off until the end. So that's why I'm just putting the dots here, minus sine 40 is 0,64278 T. 117.6 was here, and then we still have our 0,31 to distribute into both of these. Okay, so then at this stage I'm going to distribute the 0,31 to both of them, and this equals 0,31 multiplied by 117.6 equals equals 36,456. And that was there, negative 0,31 multiplied by 117,6, and then negative 0,31 multiplied by negative 0,64278 equals positive 0,1992 t. And that is this guy distributed to this whole thing over there. And this all equals 0. So at this stage, we can just take the number over to that side, simplify our like terms with the t on them, and then we can go ahead, divide by that, and we'll have our final answer. So taking this over, we have positive 36,456, and then simplifying the 0,766 plus the 0,1992 together equals 0,9653 t. And then we can just go ahead and we can divide by this 0,96 and the 0,96 over here. And our final answer over there for tension is 37,77 newtons. And that is our final answer for tension. So we just earned 5 marks there, and we have the tension in the rope over here. So then 2.4, the block is moved a horizontal distance from A to B of 24 meters. So 2.4.1, calculate the time it will take the block to reach B. Okay, so there are bridging equations of motion and the force section. That's why we have both of them up here. So we have a bunch of variables. Cool, so let's write them down. That's always a good practice. We have our VI, our VF, we have our delta X, we have our A, and we want time. So at this stage, what we need to look at, our initial velocity is 10 because they said it is starting at 10, but it is a constant velocity from there to there. They did not use the word rest anywhere. So our final velocity is also 10. Our distance is 24, as we just read over here, 24 meters from A to B. Our acceleration, because it is a constant velocity, is 0. And time is what we want, which means we need to try and calculate time, which means we need to go to a formula that has time. So we have our formulas with time over here. We have this guy, but this won't work to give us time in this scenario because our acceleration is 0. So 0 multiplied by anything means that is 0, and then our time will disappear. So we cannot use this option. This option over here does not have time in it, so that guy's out of the window, which means we're dealing with either of these two, where we have a distance and a time, or a distance and a time. So I'm going to go ahead and write our delta x equals vi times delta t plus half a delta t squared, and then we can go ahead and we can solve that, or we can use this formula as there's no change in acceleration, which means over here we have delta x equals vi delta t plus half a delta t squared. And then our delta x over here is 24, our vi is 10, delta t is what we want, plus half a is 0, so this whole portion of the sum is just going to disappear. Delta t over here is what we want, but that is all going to go, which means we have 24, and ultimately this just becomes speed equals distance over time. Then we have that, delta t is there, and then we can just go ahead and divide 24 by 10 to get delta t, which means we have 2.4 seconds. And that is our final answer here, accounting for the fact that there's no acceleration, and earning us 3 marks over there. So 2.4.2 now, it says if the block's velocity is increased to a constant velocity, so no acceleration still, of 20 meters per second to the -1, how will the frictional force be affected? The frictional force, right, only increases, decreases, or remains the same. So with these sort of questions, it's very good to go to the formula. Once again, this definition was referring to this question as well, which means that if we rewrite our formula for frictional force, we have Ff equals UFN, or our mu over here, which means our frictional force will only change if we change the coefficient of friction, if we increase it. And the only way we can change the coefficient is by changing the texture or the type of material that the surface is made of. So ice will have a very low coefficient because it is quite slippery, but sandpaper will have quite a high coefficient because there's a lot of friction based on the type of material of the surface. And over here, we also have not increased the Fn, we have not increased the mass of the object or the angle at which we are pulling the object, considering there's an Fy over here that affects our Fn based on our previous question. So if we are not changing the coefficient or the normal force through means of mass or the angle at which we're applying a force on the object, it means that the block's velocity increasing without any change in acceleration will not affect the frictional force, and therefore the frictional force will remain the same over here. And that just earned us 1 mark. Always write it out exactly how they write it so that you can guarantee that you get the marks. And then 2.5, almost done with this section. the angle between the rope and the horizontal surface is increased to 50. Okay, so this guy is now pulling it at an angle like that, for example. There's a 50 from the horizontal up to the new angle that the rope is being pulled from. So what will be the effect on the kinetic frictional force acting on the block now? Okay, so 2.4.2 leads into 2.5, including an aspect of what we were talking about here. So the effect on the kinetic frictional force acting on the block. So let's see what happens. So a reminder that we had Fg going down, we had Fn going up, and we also had our Fy going up. But in this scenario, our Fy is increasing because our angle is increasing. 2.5.2, we're about to explain our whole answer, so we'll write that there. But at this stage, Fy was pretty strong previously. But as we increase the angle, our Fy becomes stronger and our Fx becomes less. So at this stage, if we are plugging an Fn into our Ff formula, Fg equals Fn plus Fy, okay? But a reminder that we increase the angle, our Fy is increasing. So when we take our Fy over, our mass of the object has not changed, but our Fy is a bigger value now because we have increased the angle. So that stays the same. I'm just gonna put an equals sign over here for our Fg. It is the same, but our Fy has increased, which means we are minusing by a bigger value, and all of this represents our Fn, which means our Fn here is going to become smaller because what is happening is this object is lifting slightly off the ground, not entirely, not in any visible way, but it is lifting a little bit more off the ground, which means our Fn can work less hard because our Fg and our Fn plus Fy are in equilibrium. So our Fg is the same, but because the Fy is increasing, our Fn can work less hard, as if there are people on a tug of war team and therefore have to equal each other. So because Fy is increasing, Fn can decrease, and this team on tug of war can still pull the same as the Fg over there. So that means our Fn is decreasing. Our coefficient has not changed. The material that the surface is made of has not changed, but our Fn is going down. So if our Fn is going down because we increase the angle, the kinetic frictional force acting on the block will also go down because it is directly proportional to the Fn. So if Fn goes down, our frictional force goes down, and therefore our answer is decreases. And that'll earn us 1 mark over there. And that was the explanation for 2.5.2, which we'll just revise now, but explain the answer of question 2.5.1 for 3 marks, which means 3 bullet points. So our angle to the horizontal has increased, therefore our Fn has decreased, and therefore our Ff has decreased as it is directly proportional to Fn. And that explanation will earn us our 3 marks. Our angle has increased, therefore our F of y has increased, our Fn then decreases, and therefore our Ff decreases as well because our Fn is directly proportional to our frictional force. Cool. And that is 3 marks for that last question of this section, earning us 19 marks for this whole section. Great job, guys. Let me know if there are any questions in the comments below, and then I will see you in the next video.